Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Cheryl, and today we're going to be doing a writer's review of Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker. 2 weeks ago, I did a review of his video series that he has on YouTube. I'll put it down in the links below. But we did a review on his series and took some things away on world building and a couple other things. And then I said we were going to be reading the Warbreaker book and doing a writer's review on this book. So that's what we're doing today. So 2 weeks ago we said that we should have a basic understanding of how the magic works by chapter 2, and I had a basic understanding by the prologue, so I think he did a good job with that. I had a basic understanding of the worlds by chapter 2, so that's good as well. And then we talked about how he says definitely do not info dump unless you have a unique way to do it, and there was a part in this book where he did info dump. And it was the point where she had the storyteller come in to give her the history of the kingdom. And so he came in and he's throwing sand and making poofy things and basically giving a history lesson. As far as that info dump, it did bore me a little bit, but he got the information out and he did it in a unique way. It was better than just saying it. So yeah, so that would be an example of a unique info dump that he was trying to teach. In the beginning, he described that the city was full of color by locking Vasher up in jail, and then Vasher said he had to get used to the color again. So that kind of let you know that his world wasn't full of color. And instead of saying that their breath was powerful, he said that Vasher breathed life into a straw figure, and that showed how powerful the life was, or the breath was. And then we knew that the land was underdeveloped because of the bumps that were in the road as Ciri drove to Halandren. And then another difference in color in the two worlds, another way that they explained it without explaining it, was to explain the difference between the worlds of color and no color. He used Ciri, who was amazed when she entered Halandren at how much color there was. That was his way of showing us without telling us, and I thought that was really good. The explanation of the God King was through conversation between Bluefingers and Ciri. Okay, and then the other thing we touched on was he said to try to give an understanding of the world, and I didn't really get too much outside the kingdom. So I had an understanding of Idris and Halandren, and I understood that they were, so far away from each other. But I don't know if there were any other kingdoms around. I didn't really have a clear understanding of that. I didn't need it for the story. The story was fine without it. But as far as he says to build up the world, I think they made mention of one other kingdom, but I don't think they made mention of anything else. But I think it's fine in this story. So he probably just told us what we needed to know, and that's cool. So the last part that I wanted to touch on was the entertaining part, and I think that this is important for any genre that you do. What we talked about 2 weeks ago was that he said to make sure that whatever you write, make sure it's entertaining, and if you write a scene and it's not entertaining, to go back and change something with the setting or the characters or get rid of the scene. I tagged some areas in this book. I'm guessing that he did a little extra work to make them interesting. So hopefully you guys read this too, and if you found anything interesting or that you think that he added, put it in the comments below so I can see what areas you think he kind of fluffed up a little bit to make them more interesting. The first one that I noticed of him possibly making the scene more interesting was when Ciri had to get bathed by the servants of the kingdom at Halandren, and that could have just been it, but instead of just, having the women around, he just has a man come in like it's nothing, which makes her uncomfortable and just kind of like ups the scene, because now you're feeling how uncomfortable she is. So that definitely made it more entertaining for me. So I'm assuming that he did that to make it more entertaining. Okay, and then when Denth and Tonk Fey and Bevina found a new house to stay in. Instead of just saying that there was wood, that he lightened it and made it funny by saying that Deb commented on how easy it would be to break the wood, the closets in the room, and then as far as size, he commented at how easy it would be to put 6 dead bodies in there. So that was, I think, a more entertaining way to explain what the house looked like. And then there's another spot when Vasher was going down into a tunnel. Nightblood added that there possibly might not be another way out and they would be stuck down there. And that increased that scene for me, but I was kind of hoping then that it would be blocked, but it wasn't. Well, I don't think they ever followed through on that scene. But that made it more interesting for sure. And then when he was introducing the gods throughout the story and he got to Hope Finder, he made Hope Finder a child, which just kind of added a little different element because we're going through, we're seeing the gods, and oh, all of a sudden there's one that's a child. And that was interesting, and I would assume something that he did to up the interest of the story. Those were the only ones that I tagged. I know there were a lot more in there. The story was very interesting, and I think the most important part with him making each scene interesting was that every scene that moved the story forward. Nothing was like stale, nothing just sat there, nothing was there for no reason except for the tunnel thing that I just mentioned. But throughout the entire book, every scene gave a little bit more information. Every scene had a reason to be there, and every scene pushed the story forward. So every scene was entertaining in that there was always something new or information that just kind of pushed it along. Okay, so that is my writer's review of The Warbreaker and Brandon Sanderson's work. If you have anything else to add, please put it down in the conversation. And my next series that I'll be doing here, probably within 1 to 2 weeks, is Ellen Brock. She's a freelance editor. And we'll be going over doing plot points, second plot points, mid points, pinch points based off of her review and maybe a few other things. Definitely subscribe if you are looking to become a better writer because that series is going to be good. I've been using it to plot ever since I learned it. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.